Here is a New York Times opinion piece that raises concerns about the largest democracy's future. Intriguingly, a major newspaper would publish this. The title is "The World's Biggest Democracy is Jettisoning Freedom and Tolerance" by Lydia Polgreen. It sets the tone. The description includes a link to the original article. A decade's worth of magazine covers had already predicted India's imminent climb to the top table of the global order and its position as a democratic counterweight to China when the author relocated to New Delhi in 2009 to work as a foreign correspondent. Using inventiveness, technology, and India's unwavering spirit of progress, these sticky issues of multi-ethnic democracy, a convoluted bureaucracy riddled with corruption, and the immense difficulties of lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty would all be solved. These magazine covers' cyclical design made me think of the well-known Brazil joke that declared India to be the future's foremost nation. But now the moment has come. India is undoubtedly the country of the moment. It is a significant factor in the world's pressing problems. Now the fifth largest economy in the world, it has surpassed the economy of the nation that colonized it. If it hasn't already, it's anticipated that it will surpass China in population this year. The Ukraine conflict has revealed how fervently major powers desire Ukraine as an ally. Without India, there will be no effective response to climate change. This year, India is the chairman of G20. Later this year, its summit in Delhi promises to be a significant turning point for Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the international scene. According to reports, Apple intends to manufacture up to 25% of its iPhones in India, a significant endorsement of the nation's expanding technological manufacturing capacity. This year at the Davos World Economic Forum, India was the talk of the town. According to author Fareed Zakaria, it might be the most optimistic country in the world right now. In India, however, it was difficult to watch the BBC documentary India, the Modi Question because of stern government measures. It requested that Twitter and YouTube ban links to bootleg videos using emergency powers, and the platforms promptly agreed. The police beat and detained groups of students who attempted to screen illegal copies on college campuses. Administrators in New Delhi turned off the electricity on one campus to stop a screening. The documentary recounts the now well-known tale of how riots erupted in Gujarat in February 2002 following the deaths of several Hindu pilgrims in a train fire. Although the source of the fire was contested, Muslims were given the responsibility by some, which led to outbursts of violence directed at them. As a result, an estimated 150,000 homes were lost, and more than 1,000 individuals perished. Muslims made up the vast bulk of the victims. At the time, Gujarat's chief minister, Modi, had long supported hard-right organizations that supported Hinduism. The documentary reveals the finding of a British government investigation that Modi was directly responsible for the climate of impunity in which the violence took place. His participation in the riots has been extensively researched and argued and, in many respects, remains unresolved. So it is understandable why Modi's administration would prohibit the public distribution of this documentary in India. Modi is now the twice-elected Prime Minister of the democracy with the largest population. Violence against Muslims in India has increased and is frequently unpunished under Modi's administration. The Muslim-targeting legislation and policies passed by Modi's administration include revoking Kashmir's special status, which India and Pakistan are fighting over, and revisions to citizenship regulations that disfavor Muslims. However, it would be incorrect to assume that India's Muslims are the only ones in danger. By enhancing its emergency powers to obstruct information, it wants to conceal from the Indian people, and by making it simpler to imprison dissidents under ambiguous anti-terrorism laws, the government has relentlessly cracked down on all manner of free expression and dissent. Almost none of the major world powers have any motivation to impede India's progress. They need a more influential and powerful India to achieve their geopolitical objectives, most notably the United States. Ned Price, a spokesman for the State Department, responded to questions about the controversy by saying that while he was unfamiliar with the documentary, he was very familiar with the shared values that unite the United States and India as two thriving, vibrant democracies. The Biden administration appears more than happy to ignore the Gujarat riots and mostly turn a blind eye to escalating anti-Muslim sentiment, much like Apple and other major software corporations eager to engage in India. India is a democracy, without a doubt, and Indians have made it evident that they support Modi, In the most recent election, his government was re-elected with a larger margin of victory. Modi will likely seek office again the following year. If he is elected and serves a third term, he will surpass Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi as the longest-serving leaders of India. The foundation for a secular, democratic, and multi-ethnic India was laid by Nehru. In one of the most well-known political speeches in contemporary history, he predicted that India would awaken to life and freedom at midnight when the rest of the world was asleep. There is a time in history when we transition from the old to the new, when an era ends, and when the long-suppressed essence of a nation finds expression. The secularism and democracy value Nehru promoted are incorporated in the Indian constitution, which India's top court has said can be amended but whose core principles cannot be changed. One of the pillars of Indian society, democracy governed by an unalterable constitution, was called into question last month when the Vice President of India said he disagreed, sending shockwaves through the political system. The Hindu nationalist movement has made the repeal of the constitution's secularism, which it views as a foreign, Western idea, one of its most treasured goals. India may continue to veer towards autocratic majoritarian rule if Parliament is given the freedom to alter the constitution in any way it pleases. Modi would likely seek to make significant changes to the constitution's framework and declare India a Hindu nation, buoyed by a third-term victory and the support of history. This would pierce the magnificent and unique country Nehru promised in His Majesty's address, profoundly altering its spirit. It is hard to think that when the author arrived in India more than 10 years ago, Nehru's vision of more than a billion people coexisting relatively tranquilly next to one another on top of a palimpsest of vanquished empires appeared genuine. India's ascent coincides with the demise of that dream, giving way to a new India that is less free, less tolerant, and more eager to throw out the pieces of democracy to construct a temple of national greatness centered on a single religion. It will make humanity as a whole poorer,